All right, so I want to solve this trig equation over here. Now, one thing to note is that I do not have a domain in this question, which means I'm going to have infinite solutions for my answer because any sine, cos, or tan wave, if it's not restricted by a domain, it's going to have infinite solutions. So let me start by just finding the first solution. I'm going to start by subtracting 6 on this side. So this becomes -1 equals to sine 60x minus 10. Next, I'm going to move the sign. It's going to become sine inverse of -1 equals 60x minus 10. So the sine inverse of -1, you should technically not use your calculator because it will probably give you one of the worst solutions. Instead, you should think of your sine graph. So if I have a sine graph, I know that this is 360 and -1 is down here. This is 180, which means the answer for -1 will be 270 degrees. So I know the sine inverse of -1 is 270 degrees. So 270 equals to 60x minus 10. I'm going to divide both sides by 60. So 270 over 60 is just 4.5 equals x minus 10. And then if I add the 10 over here, I'll get x equals 14.5. So this is one of my first solutions. I don't know which solution it is just yet, but what I can do now is I can find my other solutions. So let's think about my sine graph. I have a minimum over here, -1, and then if I draw my second cycle, the x value of this minimum is basically 1 period away. So for a regular sine graph, this would be 360 degrees. If I wanted to find this x value, I can just do 270 plus 360 to get the x value there. But what is the period of my function in this question? Well, we know period is 360 divided by k. And we know k is 60. So period is 360 divided by 60, which is just 6. So in this question, the period is 6. Which means 14.5 is definitely not my first solution because it's much larger than 6. My first solution should be somewhere in between 0 and 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 6 over here, and I get 8.5 equals x. So this is again larger than 6, so I'm going to subtract another period. And I get 2.5 equals to x. So now this is my first solution. Again, if you think of the sine wave, I'll just draw it out really quick. This is not accurate, but I basically have it's phase shifted, so it's not a regular sine wave. And my first minimum, -1, is at 2.5. So this is what it looks like. And then the next minimum is at 8.5. And then the third minimum here is at 14.5. This is what I initially found, but then I went back one period to get this one, and I went back another period, and I found my first solution here as 2.5. So now how do I represent infinite solutions? I'm just going to say x equals to 2.5 plus whatever my amount of time for repetition. In this case, my amount of time or amount of x values for repetition is 1 period, which is 6. So plus 6k, comma, k is an element of all integers. So what does this mean? If k is 0, my solution is just 2.5, which is my first solution here. If k is 1, it's 2.5 plus 6, which is the second solution here of 8.5. K is 2, it's my third solution. K is 3, it's my fourth solution. If K is -1, it's the solution back over here. So this is just your way of repeating infinite solutions and writing it with infinite solutions.